Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Unheard Voice. I am Danielle, and this is the second episode. Before we begin, I want to share a quick trigger warning. This episode includes discussions of substance exposure, adoption, emotional neglect, and addiction. Please take care of yourself while listening and feel free to pause or come back to this episode when you're in a safe space to receive it. If this is your second time here, thank you. Thank you for trusting me again. And if you're new, this is a space for the things we don't say out loud. Last episode, I shared why this podcast exists. And today, I want to talk about my story from survival to sobriety. I am going to talk a little bit about where I started and how I got to this point of healing and sobriety. Um, So I was born exposed to substances. I was born addicted to crack cocaine. And that's something I didn't always understand growing up, but I always felt it. I felt different, like I entered the world already carrying something super heavy, even before I had words for it. I was adopted, and while adoption can be a beautiful thing, it also comes with layers that people don't always talk about. There was this quiet feeling of not fully belonging, of being loved but not feeling it, of being apart but still feeling separate, of being surrounded by people yet somehow still feeling alone. Growing up, I often felt left out and unheard. Not always in obvious ways. Sometimes it was subtle. Sometimes it was just a feeling in my chest that said, "You don't quite fit here." And when you feel that way for long enough, you start to internalize it. You start to believe maybe your voice doesn't matter. Maybe you're too much or not enough or just invisible. I don't really know how to express I didn't really know how to express any of that, so I buried it. As I got older, those feelings didn't disappear. They just showed up differently. In my choices, in my relationships, in how I treated myself, I was surviving and not living. I was trying to numb things I didn't know how to face. And for a long time, substances felt like relief. They quieted the noise. They made me feel accepted, even if it was a temporary feeling. But way before I started using, actually have trichotillomania. So what that is it's a OCD of chronic hair pulling, and I would pull my eyelashes out. The pain got so deep on the inside that as a child, I found another way to hurt myself on the outside. And for many people, it looks differently. And for me, it was hair pulling. But temporary escapes always come with permanent consequences. There came a point where I had to be honest with myself. I had to admit that the way I was coping was slowly destroying me. I wasn't healing, I was avoiding. And avoiding was costing me my peace, my clarity, and my sense of self. Choosing sobriety, it wasn't easy. It meant sitting with feelings I had been running from my entire life. It meant hearing my own voice again, unfiltered, unnumbed, and sometimes uncomfortable, a lot of times uncomfortable. But it also meant meeting myself for the first time with compassion instead of judgment. And growing up, I was heavily judged. I was heavily picked on. I was put down. So I ended up doing that to myself because it became a norm. It became, well, everyone else does it, so why not? Sobriety taught me that my past doesn't define me, but it does explain me. And instead of being ashamed of that, I learned to honor it. Healing for me has been about learning to listen to myself, learning that I deserve to be heard, that the little girl who felt unseen still matters, that surviving got me here, but healing is what's going to take me forward. If you're listening to this and you've ever felt different, if you've ever felt like your beginning was stacked against you, if you ever used something, anything to numb your pain, I want you to know this. You are not broken and you are not alone. Your story isn't over just because it started rough. Sometimes the hardest beginnings create the strongest voices. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for holding space for my truth. If you want to know more about my adoption, let me know. I'll dig deeper into that. If you want to know more about my sobriety, I'll dig more into that. I'm just going to go with the flow of this podcast and just share my truth, share my story, and share the things that I've always wanted to share but didn't feel like I could, or just felt like I'd be unheard or didn't have anyone to share them with. If this resonated with you, just know this podcast is for you. And this is The Unheard Voice by It's Danny XO. I am Danielle, and thank you for listening.